Post-spring schedule predictions for Oregon State football. Oregon State's 2019 football season is under 3 months away. With August 30th drawing nearer, the players' off-season workouts are intensifying, and the coaching staff is gearing up for fall camp. They've made strides since the end of last season, bringing in new instant impact players and putting together an impressive spring camp. Will Oregon State take a step forward in year 2 of the Jonathan Smith era? Here are my game-by-game predictions for how the Beavers season will pan out. 8/30 vs Oklahoma State. The two orange and black OSUs will face off in the first game of a home-and-home to open the season. This will be a great indicator of where Oregon State stands defensively, as the Cowboys have had one of the best offenses in the country in the last few years. Don't be surprised if these teams combine for 500 yards on the ground. The rushing attack is the biggest strength for both sides. Redshirt sophomore Chuba Hubbard moves up to the number 1 spot on the depth chart for Oklahoma State with the potential to be one of the nation's top running backs. He put up 740 yards on just 124 carries as a second stringer last year, and he should be the main source of offense for the Cowboys in 2019. This game will come down to whoever plays better defense, and while the Cowboys aren't stalwarts on that side of the ball by any stretch of the imagination, they're still a step ahead of the Beavers. Score: Oklahoma State 48, Oregon State 34. Record: 0-1. 9/7 at Hawaii. A couple of seasons ago, this might have been an easy win for Oregon State. Over just 3 short years, however, head coach Nick Rolovich has turned this Hawaii football program around. The Rainbow Warriors just completed their first winning season since 2010, and they could be even better this year. Redshirt junior Cole McDonald is one of the best signal callers in the country, and he's coming off a 3,875-yard, 36 TD season. A dual-threat quarterback, McDonald also ran for 359 yards and 4 scores in 2018. In order for him to lead the Rainbow Warriors to a special season, he'll need some help from his defense, which ranked 109th in points allowed last year, 35.1 ppg, and gave up over 200 yards per game on the ground. That's not going to cut it against Oregon State. Hawaii will probably be extra motivated to knock off the Beavers after the 2018 recruiting controversy between the two schools, but they might not be a complete enough team to make it happen. Score: Oregon State 41, Hawaii 38. Record: 1-1. 9/14 vs Cal Poly. If the Beavers' run defense is as weak as it was a year ago, this could turn into a more difficult matchup than many might expect, because Cal Poly runs the triple option to perfection. Averaging 330.8 yards per game on the ground last year, the Mustangs improved on their win total by 4, putting together a 5-6 campaign. A middle-of-the-road Big Sky program, Cal Poly certainly doesn't boast top-tier personnel, and their best player from last year is off to the NFL. Fullback Joe Prothero was a 2-time FCS All-American for the Mustangs, but his absence will be extremely difficult to overcome. Oregon State should have its way with a questionable Mustang defense, and even if they have a tough time slowing down the triple option, the Beavers will score more than enough of their own points to take care of business. Score: Oregon State 56, Cal Poly 24. Record: 2-1. 9/28 vs Stanford. Stanford lost a lot of talent over the offseason, including Bryce Love, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and Caden Smith. Unfortunately for Oregon State, the Cardinal will return the players that lit up the scoreboard when these two teams faced off in 2018. Quarterback KJ Costello is back for his senior year, and he projects to be one of the best players at his position in the conference. Also, tight end Colby Parkinson, who racked up 166 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Beavers a year ago, will be back as Costello's most reliable target. Still, this should be somewhat of a down year for the Cardinal. A perennial threat to win the Pac-12 title, Stanford will have to uncover new playmakers in order to challenge Washington and Oregon in the North Division. Oregon State hasn't won a game in the series since 2009, and their fortunes might not turn around just yet. Score: Stanford 35, Oregon State 28. Record: 2-2, 0-1. 10/5 at UCLA. UCLA got off to a rough start under head coach Chip Kelly last year, but the Bruins turned things around in the second half of the season, salvaging a 3-9 record after going 0-5 in their first few games. Their defense was the only unit in the conference that was comparable to Oregon State's, and it actually got worse as the year progressed. The Bruins should see some improvement on both sides of the ball as players become more comfortable in the scheme, but with an inexperienced quarterback in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and a defense with a lot to prove, they'll still probably be the weakest conference foe the Beavers will face. Oregon State should have the tools necessary to snag a road win in Pac-12 play for the second year in a row. Score: Oregon State 38, UCLA 34. Record: 3-2, 1-1. 10/12 vs Utah. The last time Oregon State and Utah faced off, 2016 in Corvallis, the Utes came away victorious in a 19-14 defensive battle. This year's game shouldn't be nearly that close. Utah is the clear favorite to win the South Division, and they have a very real shot at taking the conference title. Their defensive line is loaded with NFL talent, and as a whole, the Utes' defense will likely be one of the nation's best. On the other side of the ball, they have a dynamic combination of running back Zach Moss and quarterback Tyler Huntley. They both missed the final 5 games of the 2018 season, but this year, Moss will see a huge workload and Huntley will continue to punish teams with rollout passes and scrambles. The Utes also have one of the conference's top receivers in Britton Covey, who will be a key player in both the passing and running games. Oregon State will be one of their many victims en route to a Pac-12 championship game appearance. Score: Utah 42, Oregon State 13. Record: 3-3, 1-2. 10/19 at California. AST year's 49-7 blowout loss to Cal was arguably the Beavers' worst showing of the year, save for possibly the Civil War. The game served as a turning point for the Golden Bears, who continued to win 3 more conference games and finish the season with a winning record. Their defense, led by linebacker Evan Weaver, will be even more dominant this year and should compete with Utah to be the top unit in the Pac-12 and one of the best in all of college football. The key for the Golden Bears is going to be on the offensive side, where they often looked completely inept in 2018. The quarterback competition is wide open, and a handful of last year's key position players are gone: Patrick Laird, Vic Wharton, and Kanawai Noah, to name a few, so this offense is still very much a work in progress. Score: California 20, Oregon State 10. Record: 3-4, 1-3.